just a hola reasoning. Welcome to the Style and Vibes podcast with me, Michaela. I'll be giving you the inside scoop on music, fashion, culture, and more from Caribbean celebrities and tastemakers across the globe, pushing our culture with authenticity and, of course, style and vibes. Welcome to another edition of the Style and Vibes podcast with yours truly, Michaela. If you are new to the podcast, welcome to the family, as I like to say. If this is your first episode, make sure you guys go back and just check out the other ones that we have. We have some great interviews as well as just some commentary on Caribbean topics and cultural topics that you guys might enjoy. Also, if you've been listening for a few weeks, months, however long, make sure, if you haven't done so already, please leave us a review. We definitely want to make sure that we are ranking for Caribbean content, because, you know, we have to represent for the people them across the globe. So just leave us a nice little review, and also send me any feedback for any future episodes. I love hearing from you guys, whether it's in my DM or you send me an email, even some people who just reach out to me on other social platforms as well. I really appreciate, I'm humbled by all the support. So make sure you guys keep reaching out and letting me know what you want to hear next on the podcast. So today we are talking with fellow podcaster and platform owner of O-access Jamaica, Odessa. She is a plethora of knowledge and she has just so much experience in the music and entertainment industry, and we just talk about all the things that I know. Odessa, we've done some projects together, mainly the Caribbean Bloggers Week a few years back. And we've just been in contact ever since, and she's really been a great supporter of Style and Vibes, and she has an amazing podcast as well, so make sure you guys check that out. I'll leave a link to her podcast and her platform in the show notes, but she's based out of Jamaica. She grew up in London, and she kind of has that experience globally. She is the daughter of a reggae icon. I'm not going to say his name, but you have to listen to the interview just to kind of find out. And we're really just, talking about her journey in music and in the entertainment world. She's also a TV exec. She actually produces Jamaica's Daytime Live. So she has such a plethora of knowledge and, of course, commentary around all things related to entertainment. So that is who we're talking to today. But first I got to share what I am styling on and vibing to. So this week I am styling on the Lip Bars Island Gal collection. It actually features a partnership with Justine Skye, who is a singer based out of Brooklyn. She has Caribbean roots, specifically Jamaican, so you guys are going to love that. The collection is really small. It's not a lot of products, and you can get like a bundle for it, and it's only $60. So I'm waiting for mine to come so I can test it out and try, but make sure you guys check it out. I'll leave a link to the show notes in the show notes so you can get all the beautiful pictures and some engagement with Justine Skye on the campaign itself. This week, I'm vibing on Sweet Inspiration by Lila Ik. It's on the Rock and Groove rhythm, which also features Savannah, Naomi Cohen. And I can't remember. I think there might be someone else on the rhythm too, but it's an all-girls rhythm, and it just sounds so sweet. So make sure you guys check out the whole rhythm. But my favorite from the ladies that are on that rhythm is from Lila Ik. So make sure you guys check that out. And without further ado, here is my reasoning with Odessa. So this is going to be so much fun. Today, Odessa and I have been cracking up just talking before we even hit the record button. Odessa, welcome to the Style and Vibes podcast. Long time coming, my girl.
Oh my God, we're there. Sound the big thing. Because you know what? We are drinking. We can't do this podcast without drinks.
In particular, so let me back up a little bit. Odessa is an entertainment executive in Jamaica. She does TV production as well as runs the O-access Jamaica podcast, as well as website. So she is a fellow podcaster, a fellow media site owner, and has a handful and a lot of things creative coming out of Jamaica. So I am so happy to have her on the podcast. And because we're fans of each other's podcast, I know that she always has a drink. So in her honor, I am drinking today. So I'm gonna ask what
are you drinking?
You are. So I'm not drinking rum, and I probably should be, but I've been on this binge. A friend of mine gave me this bottle of Kettle One, and it's like a mango peach flavor. But I mix it with ting.
Nice.
Tastes nice. Feel like me just close my eyes and feel like me there yard.
Yeah, so now you know what I'm drinking. White rum and ting. Ray and nephew white rum and ting.
So at least
we both got the ting. Yeah.
Okay.
The ting turn up like this podcast is going to be.
For sure. So I gave a brief kind of overview of what you do in the business, but I really want to go back. So I know that you're the daughter of renowned Jimmy Cliff. So what was that like for you growing up in the entertainment music industry?
Well, growing up in the UK, because that's where I'm born and bred, it was normal for me. I think the only time when I first realized my dad was a superstar was when I was picked up at school with a Bentley and a driver. And that's when I realized, oh, okay, my dad must be somebody important. That was in the UK. But in Jamaica, it was just, I don't know, it's just kind of normal. It was just normal, you know, your brothers and sisters are here, your dad picks you up, we go to the beach, we do movies, we do family stuff. And, you know, you'll see the people on the road, yo, Jimmy, beep, beep, blah, blah, blah. And it just, you know, for me, it's just normal. I don't know about anybody else, but for me, it's normal. And because my mother grew me up to be very grounded and just humble, because she's that kind of person, it's the same thing that just reflects on me. So, you know, my dad's Jimmy Cliff, but he's just my dad. At the end of the day, he's just my dad.
So did you go back and forth between the UK and Jamaica?
Yeah, I did. So basically, all my holidays would be either Jamaica or New York. I actually did grow up in New York as well. My mother went to school in New York and grew up in New York. And so my upbringing was basically London, Jamaica, and New York. So that's my vibes.
Perfect trifecta of Caribbean,
that's right.
like hubs. So
that's right.
You have that experience from all three areas, and that's interesting in itself, because I think you have a certain perspective from an entertainment perspective on what the music and the industry and really what it sounds like in all three areas. And I was recently listening to your podcast with Alakai Harvey.
Alakai Harley.
Alakai Harley. Sorry.
Yeah.
I loved hearing you two, because I was just like, wait a minute. Now I have to go research some more grime artists. And it just felt so natural. And I think that that's a special place to be in. So talk to me about like how you kind of used all of your experiences over the years to kind of hone your creative hub in Jamaica.
As I said, I kind of in Jamaica every holiday, which would be Easter, summer, or Christmas. I was here or in New York. So it wasn't a big transition. Growing up in the UK, from I was 11, I told everybody at school that I'm moving to Jamaica for when I reached 21. Everybody thought, yeah, whatever. And I'm like, no, I'm actually going to move. And when I made that move, everybody was in shock and thought I'd be back. But I was always in Jamaica, so I was very Jamaicanized. So when they had the school fetes, when, you know, the dances were going on, everything like that, I was still involved. I was still here heavily involved in what was going on in reggae and dance hall and, you know, cultural happenings that happening in Jamaica. And then in the UK, I was more into my UK scene. So I would never even go to like a dance hall at all, caught dead in a dance hall in England, because for me, it wasn't the real thing. Jamaica is the real thing. Yeah. So my UK influence is my hip hop and my R&B, and that's all. That's basically what I listened to, and that was my vibe. And, you know, for those that are listening to this podcast who are from London, that would know about Rampage and Boogie Bunch and the party scenes. I also had my work experience at Choice FM Radio, which is London's largest urban radio stations. It started off as, it was actually the first Black-owned radio station, and they sold it to Capital. So I've always kind of had an experience in entertainment, and it never really came from my father. It was just me wanting to do it. So from street teams, doing flyers for events with friends, working at Soul to Soul, with Jazzy B and H and all of those guys in their shops that they had at Carnaby Street in London, to Camden Town as well. Kind of just been in the whole entertainment scene. That's always been my thing. It just came naturally. And it wasn't, as I said, anything to do with my dad, because my dad really doesn't want any of his children to be in the entertainment scene, because he feels it's just not, it's not really nice. Put it that way. So coming to Jamaica, it was just like, you're around everybody. You're around the Capletons. You're around all of the artists. My dad had a studio at the side of the house on Lady Musgrave Road, where you'll see people just come in and record and stuff like that. But it was just, as I said, everything's just kind of natural for me. It was just, just a 1-2, When I decided to move, though, when I decided to move, and I said to everybody, when I reached 21, I'm moving to Jamaica, everybody was like, you're mad. And I'm like, no, I'm not mad. This is my spirit. It's the spirit. It's always been telling me to move. I'm going to move. So I moved, and then I told everybody my first job would be working with Chris Blackwell on records. He didn't know that, but I already knew. So when I got there, it so happened that Chris Blackwell was setting up his Island Jamaica records, and they were looking for someone to work in A&R and in promotions. And 3 months later, I got the job. Chris didn't even know who my dad was at the time. I just applied and everything, and it wasn't really him. It's another young lady called Trish Farrell at that time that was running a label. Mm-hmm. And later on, they found out who my dad was, and then just it just falls into place after that. So, yeah.
I love that, because the idea of have you always kind of kept who your dad was kind of to yourself in order to kind of create this lane for yourself?
Yeah, I wanted to be known just for me. My mother taught me, my mother's always had this thing where you got to work for yourself. You got to build your own. Even though your father is who he is, you still got to shine and do your own thing. So, I grew up in my dad's house. That's my home. And I'd even walk down the road and people will ask me who, do I know him? Blah, blah. I just tell them I'm the helper, because I just don't want anybody bugging me. Or I'm a foreign exchange. I'm doing an exchange program and, some crap like that. And it wasn't until I connected with Wyclef and the Fugees, and they were recording their first album here in Jamaica, second album, I should say. And they were in the studio, and we connected and everything. And then I was doing my television show, and I'm jumping. I was doing my television show that I hosted, directed and produced on a channel that we created called Music Plus with Ras Casa and Nadia Rose and Trevor, and big up everybody, and Kevin Lee. That Wyclef outed me. Everybody realized that I was Jimmy Cliff's daughter. And that's when everybody basically knew who my, the legacy was. Otherwise, enough people didn't know at that time.
Yeah, your work preceded your reputation. So I love that personally.
Yeah.
And much respect for that.
Yes.
So how did you start O-access?
You know what? I was working with Chris Smith Management. Chris Smith at the time was managing Nelly Furtado. He was managing Tamia. I think he still does manage Tamia. I'm not 110% sure, but Tamia, Nelly Furtado, a whole heap of artists, Courtney John. And I said to Chris, I've got an opportunity to go and do some extra hustles on the side. And I wanted to kind of get into the whole, I'm doing production at the same time. So America's Next happened to come up and in Jamaica, and they hired me specifically to work with the celebs because they know that I have an easy rapport just working with them, because I just treat them as normal people, Mm-hmm. And I said, I'm going to eat the food. So I did that. And while doing America's Next Top Model, and leaving the television channel that we built, which was the cable channel, I should say, which is Music Plus. While leaving Music Plus, there was like an outlet. People still were calling me and asking me what's going on, what's doing this, who's the hottest artist, who's this, what's that, what's going on at Odessa. And a friend of mine that worked at the company that still works at Christmas Management, 21 Entertainment, Greg, said, you know what, you should just start your own blog. And so there was a period of time during America's Next Top Model and after America's Next Top Model where I had some time to myself. I'm going to start the blog. I'm going to start O-access Jamaica, which really is Odessa's access to Jamaica, because I have access to certain things that most average people don't. So that was why I just named it after that. So that's really the reason why I kicked off the blog, and I'm still running it. It's hard, but I have a whole heap of plans for the new year in regards to that.
So what do you love and hate the most about this blogging, podcasting journey?
I think podcasting is great for me. Now that I have a partner that I can work with, and I can just kind of just go in and book my thing and have a studio set up and everything like that. It's a lot easier. Now, blogging is when you have, freelance writers that you hire to write for you and stuff like that. It's like you still got to be micromanaging them, and that's the struggle. And a lot of people out there, a lot of younger writers out there that claim that they're writers and they want to do it, but they're not passionate about it. And it's just, so you have to like let them go and just kind of do it yourself. It's just trying to keep, you've got your day job, you've got other things doing, and then you have to blog on top of it. And it's just a lot of work. It's very tedious. It's a lot of work, but I do love it. And I think it's important as a Black woman to own my own media, and most Black women and men to own their own media, especially in these times that we are in, basically. So, yeah.
My spirit sister.
Aww.
I feel like more I said the same thing.
Yeah, it is true.
It is true. It is true. It is tough, but I think the podcasting for me has come a lot easier because I love having conversations, and I have a partner as well who I just record, and then everything else kind of happens after that. So that makes this journey a lot easier, and it makes it fun. Because sometimes the mundane tasks kind of take the fun out of it, and
it does.
You're like, oh, why should I keep doing this? And then you kind of, have conversations with real people, and it kind of, rejuvenates the creative spirit again. So.
And then when people like you tell me, oh, I like what you're doing, blah, 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 it really pushes my vibe up. I'm like, oh my God, Michaela really thinks it's cool. All right, then I'm going to continue. I'm going to, and this person's like, oh, I listened to the podcast yesterday. It was really cool. I didn't really know, just like you mentioned, the one I did with Akala, I didn't really know UK, the UK scene was like that, blah, 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 blah. So that's what keeps me pumped, and that's what really keeps me going, because you do at most times you get jaded, or you just like,
Side note, I need the name of that jazz song.
That's Tessellated. I just learned some jazz today. Tessellated, who is the number one, well, he was number one 2 weeks ago on the jazz charts for Billboard.
Yes, and you shared that song on the podcast, and I was just like, yeah, I need that song. Okay, so I'm gonna.
Yeah, he's dope. He's the future. He's really really unique, young, gifted, and Black gentleman from Jamaica. It's really cool to see refreshing young talent out there. You know what I mean? So I'm always like, I don't normally go for the norm of what everybody else is pushing. Mm-hmm. I just, what if I feel it, and I work with it, so. Yeah,
right, we're not going to jump down the music hole just yet, because I want to touch on your work in television specifically. I think for me, I, spent summers and holidays in Jamaica, and the thing that always resonated with me is to turn on the television and just see Black people.
Yes.
Like, you flipped it, and most people don't really understand that, because I would just be glued to the television because, well, one, back in the day, it was only one channel that I used to watch. But then as I got older and was going back like probably college years,
Yeah.
and I would go back and see all the programming, all the videos, all of the news anchors, all of the reporters. It was just like, this is amazing because you're literally looking at yourself.
And you hear a West Indian accent, so it's really
Yes.
cool. You know what I
Oh
mean?
my God. I never watched so much politics in my life.
Yeah.
The most entertaining thing you can watch a parliament.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's hilarious. It's hilarious. Who's not sleeping? Who's arguing with somebody? Let's just look at Lisa because she's gorgeous. You know, we go back. It's the best. My TV career in Jamaica started with one person, and his name is Anthony Miller from Entertainment Report. I started working with him first, prior as a reporter, going out just, so most of the time, if you watch Entertainment Report, and if you know, most people don't like Anthony because he's hard. He asks us the hard questions and people don't know how to, you know what I mean? They're not trained to respond. And I'm also a publicist. So when I have my clients back in the day, I'd tell them, you're not ready for Anthony. So, I'd have to train you how he's going to word his questions, how he's going to do this and that. So I started working with Anthony, going out, doing reports, interviewing the Budjus, interviewing the Beanie Mans, interviewing the Bounty Killers, the people that were very difficult. Anthony would give me a structure of how he wanted it to get done, and I would just do it my way and still get the answer. And that's when I realized I'm not bad at journalism. I'm not a bad reporter. And I learned so much from Anthony. Big up your chest, Anthony. And his show is still like one of the number one most watched shows in Jamaica. It's a platform. It's where basically all the young up and coming artists and musicians want to be on. Aside from Winford's on stage, it's Anthony first. You know what I mean? And if you can get a good interview and it's concise and it's good on Entertainment Report, you've made it. You've made it, because if he likes you, it's going to be easy. But if he's not too sure about you, it's going to be rough. But if you as an artist can go through that interview and it come out well without anything getting twisted, you can do any interview basically globally. So my experience started with him, and then I went on to Music Plus, which was the cable channel I mentioned earlier on. I formed with film director, filmmaker Ras Kassar, Kevin Lee, who's no longer in the business but is one of our geniuses in the business, and somebody that honed Ras Kassar as well. They were both together, both brothers in the business. Nadia Rose, who you've heard of, who's done known for a lot of the Vibes Cartel music videos and stuff. And Trevor Bailey, who I don't think anything visual on our channel would ever look as it did without the technical mind and the genius of Trevor Bailey. Also Claudette Power. It was just amazing. Our channel looked like MTV, but it was Jamaican. Mm-hmm. And we were only about education and entertainment, but it had to be about Black culture, our thing, but with a twist at the same time. We would not have any artist on the show who wasn't doing anything positive, really, so there was a time, my show I hosted, directed and produced was called Out of Control. It's a bit like me. You don't know what you're going to get, and you don't know what questions I'm going to ask you, and you don't know where I'm going to be in the region. And it was really a fast-paced magazine talk show where, I've interviewed everybody that you can think of in dancehall and entertainment, from down to Bogle. My most memorable interview I still had was with Spragga Benz. It was the shortest thing, but it was so hilarious, where I just asked Spragga, the typical, Spragga, so what you been up to? And Spragga looked at me and said, having sex. And I was just silent. And I was like, okay, what else have you been up to? And he looked again at me and said, having a lot of sex. And that was the end of the interview. It was done. It was done.
Memorable for sure.
Very memorable. I mean, I've asked man, how big is his anaconda, and caught him off guard. It was just fun, fast paced. And, we had RETV and we had Hype TV out at the same time. But what made Music Plus different is that just visually, it was just far more superior. And the hosts and the producers that we had were just dynamic. You know what I mean? It was just so cool. So my experience between Anthony Miller and Music Plus honed me. And then after that, I did like a few little stunts with Television Jamaica with their morning show, hosting an entertainment segment with them. And then I kind of, again, we folded, Music Plus folded because we didn't have enough capital or proper management at the time to deal with that. And I just started to focus more on outside productions and also my public relations business that I was doing. That's how the TV thing went. And now I'm doing, for the past 2.5 years, I've started to produce for Television Jamaica Daytime Live, which is the #1 daytime talk show on the island. And, I had to take it from nothing to something. I gave myself 6 months to build this show. I have amazing hosts that are just the best looking as far as I'm concerned and the most professional. And they're just great. The crew is great. And I just, my vision for that show is to kind of get it syndicated to Africa and to other pockets of our diaspora that can get to see that and can get to watch it. So, yeah.
That is awesome. I really love hearing your journey because it's so interesting. And I think as a creative, it kind of flows. Like, are there any hiccups that you or things that you would have done differently in your journey to this point?
Yeah, I would have charged people more ass money. Would I charge them more ass money? I forgot, like I've also done film, worked on, there was a film with, God, it was a Canadian, I can't remember this. I don't know how I can't remember the Canadian film that I worked with Chris Smith Management on. And it stars Kadeen Wilson and he's about deportees. So I worked on that. And I also worked with Nick Cannon on his King of the Dancehall movie as well. It's kind of like a silent producer and as well as the talent director. And it was a lot of fun. It's the hardest job I've ever done, ever. And Nick Cannon is a beast. He's a beast and one of the best people you could ever work with as well. You learn a lot from him as well. So big up Nick Cannon, the girl them canna salmon.
All right. The girl them canna salmon. If you become a DJ,
I do. I really want to. My other dream is to become an actor. No, like a DJ like spinning. I really want to become a DJ.
Yes. Yeah. I've attempted to dabble in that.
Yeah.
2 years ago, my stepdad and my mom, they're like, we should have a family clash. So them
oh my God.
Them know love chat. So we just set up 2 speaker box. We all make flyer. And me murder them.
Oh God.
They're like, so every time there's a microphone, my uncle them is like, you have to chat by the mic when we're doing the sound clash again. And I have to organize it. But it was so much fun.
You should do that this Christmas. You should try and do that this Christmas.
I need more time. No, we need a backyard setting. Cause we kill a goat. We have enough goat and soup. But that was the only thing we served. And then we had beer and like everybody bought their chairs. So, and it was, there's of course no dub plate. So it's literally just music, tune for tune.
Yeah, you basically, I'm going to like throw it in. You basically played how one of the sound systems at the Culture Clash played. Pure 45 of them did that.
I'm very upset that they did that. I'm very upset that they did not stream that.
I'm very upset too. I asked all of the peeps from Red Bull and they didn't have any answers to it. I have no clue why when it came to America or it came to this side of the world, it wasn't live streamed.
I'm like, you're in the streaming. Like, to me, I feel like Jamaica, the Caribbean as a whole, gets streaming the best. Like, why? That was such a missed opportunity because, one, the whole culture clash is really just sound clash, sound system culture. Mm-hmm. And to bring it to Jamaica and have that experience titled, I get why they did it there, but
Well, they have to bring it back to the base and the home of what it is.
yes, and because everybody else when they had all the other teams didn't understand. Jamaica was always winning just because they just have a clear understanding of clash culture because you grow in it. So at least the competition was somewhat equally yoked between the sound systems.
Yeah.
Other ones, it's just like Jamaica's gonna win just because they don't know what they're doing. They don't understand the culture.
So I don't think they explained it to them properly either. Like the one with Wiz Khalifa. Wiz could have like gone and spoke to Clef, and Wyclef could have kind of given him a little scenario of this is how it goes, or you know what I mean, studied it, or put one Jamaican on his side to kind of work with him with it or something. But I like it still because like even the grime artists that had their sounds were really good.
They did the best out of all of them.
But that's only because the Jamaican culture in the UK is so prevalent that they would know, you know what I mean? The sound system culture and Jamaican culture, I still think is not as, it's pockets. Again, it's New York, Atlanta, LA, Miami. I think that's it in America.
And just sprinkled everywhere else.
Just not even just a toops. There's a little toop side. But that's where you see heavily where, the Jamaican culture and the sound system culture is. Those are the points in America that you can get it. But UK, everyone's a yardie. Everyone's a jam fakin'. Everyone's a jam fakin'. If you listen to one of the other podcasts, I would explain to you about one of my neighbors, Raymond, who is white in a white shade, white as snow.
I think I remember.
Right. And he's Jamaican because he grew up next to a Jamaican family next door and they showed him love.
But and it's so funny. So I watched Top Boy not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
And just watching that, you kind of understand how the culture, the words, I was paying attention to just how they spoke and all of the influences of the English spoken in England and its impact on patois. And
it's all London. It's all Jamaican London. Everybody's like, it's prevalent. It's prevalent. Everybody down to the Africans are like, you don't know if the boy's Ghanaian or if he's Nigerian because you just pure patois comme on
right.
So
but I love it, and I think it gave even more perspective because but then I think really experiencing that and even visiting the UK, you can kind of like understand and hear it's like embedded, like seriously embedded in that. Like them couldn't get rid of Nayadi over there even if them did want to.
No, they can't.
All the little white picnic them still.
Everybody is Jamaican. Everyone is Jamaican.
Yes.
Everyone is Jamaican, and Scotland Yard has to learn the new Jamaican slang every few months. That's what comes out of Yard. Them have to learn it because they have to be up to the time of what we're saying here.
Yeah.
And then what's going to go into the street and what then the roadman them are going to talk because we don't do street man, we're road because we have roads in England. Like I said to somebody last week, Odessa, why when you get vexed, somebody say, I'll shoot that man, like in anger. I'm like, why'd you say you stab? And I'm like, because I'm from England. We don't have guns, we stab. I'm not taking it as a joke, but literally they have a really bad knifing culture right now in the UK that's going on. But I said, I'm still very much UK, even though I've been here for a long time and I won't disclose my age because I'm still young.
You're a young man.
But yeah, it's. I just forgot my train of thought because the white rum just licked me just now.
Y'all get nice.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. So we did touch on some music. What are your thoughts on some of the reggae and dancehall that's coming out of Jamaica? I have a perspective, but would Minno say I have more than one opinion?
You see my tweets sometimes. Yes. I'm just like, no. I don't know. It's the same thing that's happening with hip hop because I'm a hip hop head and I don't like all of trap, but I like some of it. I don't really like the sound of where majority of dancehall is going now, because it's not dancehall, it's just music. It's not good. You know, it's not good. I don't know what these kids are talking about. I have no clue of who the Six are. I still think they're from Toronto. I honestly, I couldn't tell you one song. I probably don't even know what these fellas look like, because I don't care, you know, because to me, it's not good. It's just not good. I feel like reggae, the youth that are in reggae right now are doing so well. You know, there's not one of them that have popped up that I can say is garbage. You know what I mean? So the women are doing so well, in the females in the business are doing so well in reggae. For dancehall, I'm still like, the only person I'm feeling, as you saw, was Alakai Harley. I think she has something that majority of the females in dancehall, not reggae, don't have. Because Coffee to me is a reggae artist, more than a dancehall artist, as far as I'm concerned. So
I could see that. And I would also say, I think there has been some softer transitions in reggae in terms of it incorporating more of the rapping style, because like even her flow is very hip hop, but it has a dancehall feel, but it's still very reggae. And even like Kabaka, Chronics, you know, Dre Island, they all kind of have.
Well, Dre Island's an R&B artist, man. Sorry. Dre's our John Legend of reggae. I love him.
Yeah.
So he's very soulful, but isn't Barry soulful? You know,
yes.
It wasn't My Father, Jimmy Cliff, soulful. It's the same thing. But at the same time, Coffee, I don't know if Coffee's really heavily influenced through hip hop. She's still learning. She's still very fresh, and she's still very young. I think it's uniquely her thing, in terms of her style. But I don't know, these new guys that keep popping up. When I look at on stage and I see Winford come up with somebody else, I'm like, who the hell is this now, Wendy? I don't know these people, and I don't think it's good, and I don't think as media we need to be promoting them. That's one stance that I've always taken in any production that I'm running, from when I was with Music Plus to now with Daytime Live to even with the podcast. I just like, no, I'm not promoting it. I just don't think it's good. I think it's garbage, to be honest. And some I would tell them to their faces as well. That's one thing that most people know about me. I'm very brutally blunt and to the point. And I will tell you why your shit's not good either. I think we need to start making music again for longevity and not just now. You know,
I think it's very popular in very small sectors, and a lot of it I'm not a fan of. I'll listen to it just to kind of keep up to date with what's fresh, but it's not something that I would play in my car.
It's not good. The last person that I rated, like even from this whole Montego Bay scene, is Tommy Lee. At least Tommy Lee came out with a different style, a different sound, a different look. You know Tommy Lee, and I know Tommy Lee's a good DJ, and I've heard Tommy Lee DJ out of his style as at the same time. You know, he was fresh. They all sound the same. There's no difference. I don't know anybody else.
Yes, and that, I think that's the challenge, is there's a lack of identity through the music and or whoever is popping up. And I think there was a lot more variety, and I still think that there's a lot of good music out there. It's just not
bad dancehall. There's not good dancehall. I'm sorry. That whole crap that's coming out of dancehall. God bless Dave Kelly for coming back with Butcher Banton. I love you, Dave. Dave knows, Tony knows. Like, we need producers. There's not enough producers. There are beat makers out there. There's not enough producers that can let that person go into the studio. I'm going to write this song with this in mind. That's why when I brought up Tessellated, he's produced 2 unknown females and has bust them. No one really knew who Jada Kingdom was until Banana. I did, because I love her song, Best You've Ever Had. Yes. But nobody knew who she was until Banana. Yeah. Banana brought her out there. He knew a sound and he knew what to do for that. She wrote her lyrics, but he had that sound. Same thing with the other girl. You know, that's a producer. There's a difference. It's not just making a beat and then you send it to the man. Your person's supposed to be in the studio with you. You're supposed to be recording together. You're supposed to be building a vibe and telling that person, this is how I hear you sound, and this is what I'm going to tweak for you, and that kind of thing. It's lost. And that's the same thing with hip hop. Yeah. And then I think Salam a really good analogy as well, that most of these kids are back in our day, because we are from the generation of analog and digital. Mm-hmm. They are from the generation of just digital. So all the music that's coming out from them is coming through a phone. We had speakers. You remember your father or your uncle or whoever in the house had them big old speakers that used to listen to your music from. Yeah. So our listening, our ears and everything is cleaner, it's bigger, it's fresher, it's authentic, it's grimy. You can hear all the little things. All they have is a, what do you call those little box things, those pills, or a phone. That's where they're listening to their music from now. Yeah. And that's where they're sonically, that's where their headspace is, and ours is not. So probably that's one of the main reasons why the music sounds garbage. And we say it's garbage.
We think it's garbage, but clearly there's a market for all of it because it's popular. But I think where they're lacking is really in the stage presence, because most of them have none. And that's my challenge as well. Like, it's one thing to hear it, but I think they're being complacent with that. They're okay with,
because they're
just showing up.
The digital age. They're in the digital age. I can just post it on YouTube, and I can put it on IG and Facebook, and it's good. And we're stars now, because everybody's like, you're our stars. There's no one now to say, no, you're not. And all of their fans and their friends are making them. So we still, as the people who are in media, are following the people who don't know any better. You know, if you if you feed them shit, they believe shit, it tastes good, and they produce shit. It's just shit. It's just shit, as far as I'm concerned. And that's my analogy. Right? There's nobody telling these people, yo, it's garbage.
It doesn't sound good.
Maybe if you tweak it this way, it might sound a little bit better, but they're just doing it and thinking it's good because, yeah, man, my brethren them say it, and yeah, man, my street man them say it, and yeah, man, it do it, but yeah, man, no, bruv, no. You know, people come, I'm an artist. You can't even pitch.
But I think they learn eventually, because you kind of hit a wall and or a ceiling, because a lot of them are not progressing past
Norman Manley Airport.
Yes. So, if you want to kind of progress, you kind of have to, and some of those songs are popular here. I'll go out to, like, different dance halls, and I'll hear a few, but by the time, like, the early one is my thing, because me know where I gotta play it, me know the classics.
Yeah.
And I can go my bed by 2:00, because them not gonna play nothing when me want hear past 2:30. And the dance ram, but nobody is dancing.
Yeah, but they're not dancing. It's not ding dong.
Yes.
I love my dancing dancers music. I forgot to tell you guys, I produced a television dance show, which was like Top of the Pops in the UK, or a Soul Train. It was the #1 television show in the Caribbean, where we had 250 dancers. It was about the dancers in the dance hall. So we took them from all. I love dance hall dance music. Me love my Elephant Man dance. Me love my ding dong. Me love anything that I can go out to and dance. And I think that's what's keeping the new generation of dancehall holding. Praise God to ding dong. You understand me? Because listen, it's not good.
But I also feel the same about some of the dances. I'm just like, that looks just like something else I've already seen. Like,
I don't mind as long as I can dance, man. As long as I can. As soon as I hear a ding dong, I'm out there. I'm like, what? And my nephews and nieces look at me like, Auntie, really? But I'm like, I don't care, man.
You're flinging that shoulder anyway. Yeah.
Flinging it. I'm having fun. That's what's lost in dancehall. Fun. Because when you used to go back to the dancehall in the 90s, it was fun.
Fun, yeah.
And then even though they're talking about this whole thing about if Afrobeats is taken over, Afrobeats is not taken over. Afrobeats is just
filling a void.
Just filling a void that we lost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just filling a void. And Afro,
but the music is good. It's so good.
Afrobeats is like been in England for how long? Because there's a huge community of nice Nigerians and Ghanaians there. So it's it's just fun, love. They sing about "I love you, baby, I love you. I'm going to buy you Versace and gold and everything like that." Yes, baby, wine up, wine up. Yes, baby. 90s dancehall was the same thing.
Yeah. Yep. And their flows, like, even though I don't know all of the words, you can still you can sing along, and I can totally vibe with it. And for me, it's been a welcome of music, because it was definitely filling a void, because me tired for hear Red Rat. Me tired for hear the same.
But don't you find that as well when I go to New York or the tri-state, like when I go to the dance halls there, it's totally different from what's playing in Jamaica, what the vibe is in Jamaica, because the New York scene is totally different from the Jamaica scene. It's totally different from, where can I say, Miami, Atlanta, again, Canada, and the UK.
Yeah.
It's just, even in the Caribbean, like what's hot in Barbados is not necessarily hot in Turks and Caicos or Totola.
Yeah.
It's just totally, it's just a different vibe. And, so New York has its own scene and its own vibe totally when you get there. And same kind of songs of, like you said, rap might be regurgitated.
When I tell you, each borough has its own vibe.
Oh, shit.
If you split up soca versus dancehall versus Afro beats, like, those are three completely different vibes. You got a dancehall party in the Bronx, you're not gonna hear the same music when you go a dance party in Brooklyn. Day party.
But Brooklyn, I've studied the Bronx people. The Bronx dances in the Bronx is more of the country Jamaicans, and the dances in the Brooklyn are more of the Kingstonian Jamaicans. That's what I've kind of looked at the vibe, because it's like, wow.
I feel like that's true for, I would say, 90s, early 2000s. Now it's like it's a complete, because there are a lot of more a lot of the dancehall parties. Yeah, I guess you could.
No, I went there and I was like, what the hell? Who are these people? Why are they doing this? What are I? Yeah. I was just in a dance last week in Brooklyn. They don't do that. And I just realized majority of the country are in the Bronx, New Rochelle, going up. And most of the Kingstonians are based in Brooklyn. No, it's a vibe. Because if you go country dancing in Jamaica, it's a different vibe than when you go a dance at town. I actually prefer the country dance than the ones in town, because
for sure the drinks are cheaper.
Themselves. Yeah, and the people I'm just know for enjoy themselves, man.
Yes, for sure. And I think it's just changing, to be completely honest. I went to Amazura, and it was promoted as a dancehall party. I think Shensi and somebody else was performing, Idonia. And they had a whole soca segment. I was like, where this come from? Because one time you never would hear soca in no parties. They had a whole, and literally everybody was dancing. That was the only time I saw everyone dancing, because right after that they went back to some dancehall.
Yeah, but it's a crappy dancehall, man. They need to keep it 90s. You need to flip it. You need to put on the things that are gonna make people broke out and drop foot and
always gonna get somebody for broke. Anybody will broke out off a 90s dancehall. Like, you can play rhythm back to back to back and hear something different, and people will be entertained all the way up to even like early 2000s. They'll be highly entertained. And to be honest, by the time 2:00 roll around, you can't go to your bed, because
not in Jamaica. They're just coming in.
Yeah, well, there's different.
They need to stop that.
By the time 4:00, well, most of these places are like indoor places, and most places close by like 3:30, 4:00. So a lot of times, I personally like to do more day parties, because one, I can be home at a decent hour, and two, I can enjoy seeing people and wear my good flat shoes. Because me not in the one time me did in a tall heel.
Oh man, you good.
And I'm looking at a bunch of my heels that I barely.
You're good, because I'm not doing it. I went to the Collection Moda fashion show, and people were like, let's go party. No, it's a wrap because I'm standing up on gravel in heels and I'm
Yeah.
ready. I'm a
Yeah.
trainers girl, always forever trainers or flip-flops. That's me. I don't want to be wearing heels to no dance. So
I love my heels, but my feet don't love my heels anymore, and I would like to keep them and keep dancing for as long as God graces me to do so. So I keep them for hope, and I'll wear them occasionally, and I'll bring my I have like a matching pair of flats
Oh,
for
you're
each
one of
shoes.
those girls.
I'm one of
You take
those.
them, you take them out. I'm like, I like to go to parties and watch, and I just stand up there. I'm like, all right, she's done. She's done. Oh, she's going into the bag. She's getting them. Oh, yeah. All right, she's ready to rock out again now because I can't do it. I can't do it. I just look. I'm wearing my
But also,
trainers.
my husband, he's tall. So if we go
Yes.
somewhere together to dance and he has to bend down,
I'll
like,
be like, babes, I'm sorry, babes. You're just gonna have to work with the
I
trainers
mean,
and the flats.
he managed, but it's all good. So that's hilarious. So, in terms of what you have coming up for O-access and what you kind of have planned for 2020, what do you want to share with the people then? What are some of the things that you can share with us that you want to kind of
Well,
put out
2020, I'm trying to branch. Mostly the focus is actually on Reasonings with Odessa podcast. O-access Jamaica, I still have to seek more investment in terms of that, but I will still be pushing out more stories, posts. I'm trying as hard as possibly to do that. But in regards to the podcasts, I'm going to be starting different series of in different places, and this is not going to be airing, so I'll probably be back by the time it is, but I'll be coming back from Africa, so I'm taking my first trip to Africa, so I'm going to be doing an Africa series.
the return.
I'm doing the year of the return. I'm going to Ghana.
Are you going to Afrochella?
I'm not sure where I'm going right now. I could be Afroing in my yard.
Yeah.
I might be going because there's Afro Nation, Afrochella, Afro. Yeah. There's Tina, which is Fuso DG's event, and there's Detty Rave, which is Mr. Easy's event. So there's a lot, but
do it all. I'm going to be glued to your Instagram.
No, well, it's this. Listen, Ghana is like heavily full. It's full of traffic. There's so much traffic right now. So
it's gonna be even more, but
no, it's crazy right now as we speak. My friend I'm staying with a Jamaican that's been there for the past 3 years. I'm going home to see a lot of my friends from the UK coming over. My friend that I grew up with in Brixton, he lives there now with his wife, his family. It's just pure excitement. So a lot of my Ghanaian friends that I grew up in the UK are just like really excited to see me. So it's like it's Braffet, as the song with Fuso DG and Damian Marley is coming home. I'm extremely emotional. There are a lot of people that really don't know of me. I've grown up in a really strong Pan-African household. I was always brought up to be told that I'm an African, not a Jamaican. I never grew up in a household where your mother will be like, "I'm an African." My mother is been to Ghana. She's been to Nigeria. She's been to Benin, to Togo, and when I booked my ticket early in the year, I started to cry already. I don't know how I'm going to be when I land. I'm probably going to be bawling. I feel like I'm on a ball right now. It's very, very emotional for me. It is emotional. Going back home for the first time. So rather than just going there for events and parties and stuff like that, I just want to take it all in. I want to see the people. I've reached out to my boy Shaka Bars. I'd like to see the school that he's building. And just see my friends, my family. There's people. It's just going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. So I don't know. I might go Lagos. I might not. I could go to another country. I don't know yet. But for the podcast, I'm going to be sharing with you guys stories of people that are in Africa, sharing stories with some of the artists that are there, and some of the creatives and fashion people that are there, and a lot more. So the Africa series will be happening. So I hope you guys will be listening out for that. And I've started hosting a lot of stuff again, something that I put down for a while. So I'm out there hosting Sigma Run again. They have a live stream that's happening February the 16th. So you can look out. That's the biggest 5K run in the region. Like over 20,000 people, Jamaicans run, and it goes to charities. And I can't tell you who they have as their ambassador endorsing this year, but if you listen out to the podcast as well, you'll hear a lot more in terms of that. And yeah, just, keep following me, and Bob's your uncle, as we say in England.
I'll definitely share the link to O-access Jamaica as well as the podcast reasonings. I am looking forward to everything that you have coming this year and wishing you nothing but the best. You have to come back, and we have to
do this in New York.
Yes.
We have to
when
do
are
one
you
in
coming?
New York.
When are you coming?
Oh, I'm telling you. My sister.
I might reach yard before you reach.
Yes.
So I
don't like coming to New York when it's too damn cold, man. I'm just depressed half of the time.
Me don't like it neither. So.
It's like, but New York is my second home. It's my home away from home. It's my city. I love it.
I'll tell you this. In the
this is
like
New
a New York summer, for sure.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Not spring and summer.
I don't like going anywhere during that time frame because it's always something to do, and it's a really beautiful time to be.
It's still one of my favorite cities in the world. Still one of my favorites.
I just the cool about me.
Yeah, me can't deal with that, man. You have to drink all your rum though and wrap up.
Yeah.
You gotta walk with a little flask, and you put your little rum. You wake up in the morning, you have a little white rum and coffee. Your afternoon, you have a little rum, right, and coffee. And then by the time you go on the train, you're nice and toasty, and you're just looking at people.
People watching, for sure, for sure. Well, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Hail up Mama Blue for me, please.
Big up Mama Blue. I'm going to wake her up in a minute. We going out to touch the road.
Yes,
we're going out and bad and stunting.
I can't wait to meet her. So that'll be awesome. Thank you so much, Odessa. I really appreciate you being on the podcast, as well as just your support over the years. And I can't wait to get together. And
we're gonna do, and you're gonna do a reasonings. We're gonna do a reasoning with you very, very, very soon in the new year.
For sure. Whenever you're ready.
No, man, we're ready soon.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, darling.
Thanks for listening to the latest episode of the Style and Vibes podcast. If you like what you hear, and I know you do, share it with your friends and family. If you want more, make sure you visit styleandvibes.com and follow us on our social channels, Twitter and Instagram @Style and Vibes. Until next time, Leah Tommy Peeps.